Hello and welcome to this Excel tips video. I am Sumit Bansal, and in this video I am going to show you how to filter the data in real time while you're typing it in a search box. So you can insert a search box in Excel and you can configure it in such a way that it filters the data while you are typing the search string in that box. Now you can do that using two methods. The first one is using the filter function, which is a new function in Office 365, and you would have access to it if you are a part of the Insiders program. And if you do not have access to the filter function, then you can use the second method, which is by using a really simple VBA code. And this method would work for all the versions of Excel. So let's get started. Here I have this data and I want to filter this data based on the region column. And I want to create a search box in such a way that while I'm entering a string, it could be a partial string or the complete region name, I want this data to be filtered in real time. So to do that, the first step is to insert that search box. And I would go to the developer tab here. And if you do not see the developer tab, you can right click on any of these existing tabs, click on customize the ribbon. And here in Excel options dialog box, make sure the developer option is checked and then you click on OK and this would become available. So I click on the developer tab here, go to insert, and here in ActiveX control, I have this text box option. And when I click on it, it changes my cursor into this plus icon and I can click and drag anywhere in the worksheet and it would insert that search box. Now, this search box as of now is something I can place anywhere. It's like an object. I can place this anywhere in the worksheet, and if I want, I can resize it as well. Now, what I really want is this search box to be linked to a cell, let's say cell F1 here, so that while I'm entering any text in this, it is automatically getting entered in cell F1. So to do that, I would double click on this text box. It opens the VB editor in the backend, and here I have the properties pane here. If you do not have it, then you go to the view option and then click on properties window, and this makes sure that properties window is available for the text box. And in this, I would scroll down and I have this option called linked cell, and in linked cell I would manually enter the cell address where I want this text box to be linked. So in this case it's F1, so I enter F1 here, and when I close this, see what happens. As of now, it's in the design mode, but I would go to the developer tab and click on the design mode, which means that as of now, I can drag it and drop it anywhere and resize it, but I cannot type anything into it. But when I click on the design mode, now it would allow me to type anything into it. So while I'm typing, see what happens if I enter A here, it in the real time gets entered in cell F1 as well. So while I am typing in real time, this text is getting inserted in cell F1. So let me come here and let me simply type U here just to show you that it works. And now I want to create a formula so that it filters this entire data set based on the value in cell F1. So I would use the filter formula. Here, this would be my array. And in the condition, I have to check whether this alphabet or this partial text string in cell F1 is there in the region name or not. So I would use the search option, the search function here, and I am finding this text here within this column. And now if I select this and press F9 to show you the results it would give me, you would notice that it gives me these numbers 1 or a value error. So this number is based on whether it finds this alphabet here in these cells or not. So it is giving me the position where it finds this value, and a value error is when it cannot find it. But what I really want is trues and falses. So I would come back here and I would wrap the search function in the is number function. And what this does is if it finds a value and returns a number, is number would give me true, and if it does not, then it would give me false. And now when I hit enter, you can see it gives me these regions where region name starts with the alphabet that I've mentioned here. But see, in this case, while I am typing, it is instantly filtering this data. So as I type, it gives me these records. So this is a really easy way of filtering your data in real time while you're typing. And if you want to place this text box over this cell here, because you do not want these to appear twice, you can go to the developer tab, click on design mode, and then place this here so that it looks like you're typing here and the data is getting filtered in real time. So again, I click on design mode, and now when I type anything here, then you can see it is giving me these results. And in case it cannot find, it's giving me an error. So you can modify the formula where in case it cannot find the result, it would show you something like not found. And now if I type something which is not there, let's say something gibberish, then it would give me not found. And in case I use something which is it can find in the region, then it would give me the filtered data. Now, in the current state, if I enter, let's say A here, then it gives me all the regions which has the alphabet A. It may not necessarily start with the alphabet A, but if I want that, if I enter A here, I only want the records for Asia, which means that I want the name of the region to start from the text that I'm entering in the text box, then you can do that as well. So let me come back to the developer tab and drag this here so that you can see the cell. And in this case, I would have to filter the formula, change the filter formula. So let me delete this and I would use the filter formula. This is my array, and within condition, I have to check whether the name of the region is starting with the text string that I'm entering in this search box or not. So to do that, I would use the left function, and this is my text. So this is in which I'm looking for the leftmost character, and I would test whether the leftmost character is equal to the text string in this cell or not. And here in number of characters, I would use the len function and I would check this. So this means that because the length of the characters in cell F1 is 1, this is going to check all the leftmost characters with the value in this cell. If this had been 2, then it would check the leftmost 2 characters with the value in cell F1. And now I would check this value with cell F1 here. And that's it. Now when I hit enter, oh, I need to close the bracket here, sorry. So now when I hit enter, it gives me all these records for Asia, which means that the region's names start with the alphabet that I have entered here. If I come here and I type U here, then it gives me US and UK. If I come here and I type C here, it gives me Canada. So you can modify the filter function a little bit so that as soon as you type any text string in the text box, in the search box, it filters the data as you type based on whether the region name starts with that text string or not. And if you want to use the previous one where it could be anywhere in the word in the region's name, then you can use the previous formula. Now, this is when you have access to the filter function, which is only for Office 365 users, and that too for people who are a part of the insider program while recording this video. But what if you do not have the filter function? So let me show you another way that you can do the same thing with a very simple VBA code. Here again, I have the same data and I want to filter this data based on what I type in a text box. So the first thing I would do is create a copy of this. If you do not want, you can create the same thing over this data also, but I just wanted to make sure that I have the original data intact. And here in this data, the first thing I would do is convert it into an Excel table. So I would hold the control key and press the T key. Now this is not necessary. This technique would work without converting this into a table also. But when you convert it into a table, it becomes a little easier to use the VBA code. And now I would click OK. So this has been converted into a table. Let me change the formatting a little bit so that the headers are visible. Maybe a little darker. Also, I would have to name this table. So I would select any cell in this table, go to the table design tab that appears, and here instead of table 1, let me type something like data. Now you can give it any name you want. Table 1 is also fine, but just for the reference purposes and to use that in VBA code, I have given it a better descriptive name. Now again, this first step is to insert that text box. So I would go to the developer tab and here click on insert text box, and I would insert this text box here. And let me also then link this with this cell here, which is F1. So I would double click on it, come to linked cell here, press manually enter F1. And now I would go to the design mode and now I can type anything and you can see it instantly gets entered in cell F1. Now what I want to do is insert a VBA code in such a way that while I'm typing, it is filtering this data based on the cell based on the value in cell F1. So I'm going to use a VBA code and I already have the code here and I'll explain this code. It's really one single line that does all the work. And I would go back to the developer tab, click on design mode, and then come here and double click on this text box. And when I do that, it opens this VBA window, which is for that specific text box. You can see it says text box 1 here, and I would copy and paste the code. Now in this code, The first line is application.ScreenUpdating is equal to false, which means that while it's filtering, you would not see it happening in your worksheet, in the screen that's visible to you, because stuff is happening, rows are getting hidden, and the code is working. And if you have a large data set, this may also take a few seconds. So you would not see anything, you would only see the final result. So I make this screen updating is equal to false in the beginning of the code. And once I am done, I change it back to true, so that after this code has ended, everything else remains the same and true is the default value. And here is the VBA code where it simply checks for the list object, which is data. So this is the name of my table. And here it filters this data. So it would filter it based on the second column. So I've said the field should be 2 in this case, because I want to filter it based on the region column. And the criteria in this case is that it should have the value in cell. So in this case, let me change this to F1, because F1 is where I have the value, and it is flanked by the asterisk, which means that there could be any number of characters before or after F1, and then the operator is equal to filter values, because I want to filter based on the value in the cell. Now I would come back here, come out of the design mode, and see what happens when I type A here. It would instantly give me all these records where the name has the alphabet A or any partial string that I'm entering here. So in this case, if I type AS, it would give me all the records for Asia. Similarly, I come here, I type C, it gives me Canada and France. I type CA, it gives me Canada. In this case, again, it is looking whether these partial strings or these alphabets are there anywhere in the region's name or not. But if you want this to start from the text that you are entering in the text box, then you can do that as well. For example, if I'm typing C here, I only want the record for Canada because Canada starts with C. So you can modify the VBA code a little bit, go back to the code, and here simply remove this asterisk on the left. So asterisk ampersand, I would remove this. My criteria simply becomes F1 and asterisk, which means that it should start with the value in cell F1 and it could then have any number of characters. So in this case, again, if I come back and I type C, you can see it only gives me the records for Canada. I type A, it only gives me the record for Asia. Now you come back to the developer tab, go to the design mode, drag this, place it here, and then click on the design mode again, and you have a text box where it is filtering the data as you're typing in the search box. So these are two ways you can create a search box so that it filters the data as you type. If you have access to Office 365, you can use the filter function. And if you do not have Office 365, then you can use this simple VBA code to create this filter data that would instantly get filtered while you are typing in the search box. That's it in this video. I hope you found this useful. Also, if you're liking these videos, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so that you never miss out on any new video I come up with. Thank you and have a nice day.